I'm sure at one time or another you've heard the expression, ask 10 different people, get 10 different answers. Well, in regard to gin, nothing could be more true. The amount of products on the market today that refer to themselves as gin are many, and the number of different categories and classifications that have sprung up to support them, some of which we had named in last week's episode, are almost too numerous to mention. But rather than add to this turmoil, we will attempt in this episode to organize and simplify things as best we can. To that end, we have divided gin into 4 basic categories. The first being juniper. These gins are based on what is considered to be the original gin. They are made with a high percentage of malt wine, anywhere from 15 to 50%, and have added sugar. They tend to be much sweeter than most gins made today, and due to the fact that they are mostly pot distilled, have a lower alcohol content, usually being around 70 proof or 35% alcohol by volume. These gins tend to have a heavier, malty flavor and have what many feel is a marked resemblance to whiskey. Some examples of juniper that you can find today might be Bowles or Citadel. Next we have Old Tom Gin. One might call this the bridge between the original juniper style gin and the modern day London Dry, as Old Tom Gin is not as sweet and heavy as juniper, but is indeed sweeter and heavier than a London Dry gin. Having been out of favor for many years, Old Tom gins are making a comeback. Some examples might be Dorchester, Ransom, and Hayman's. Next, London Dry Gin, considered by many to be the quintessential style gin. Contrary to its name, London Dry Gin does not necessarily have to be made in London. In fact, Beefeater is the only brand of gin that still operates a distillery in London proper. To be considered a London Dry Gin, the product in question must be made from 100% ethyl alcohol, or what we might call grain alcohol, that is redistilled and flavored predominantly with juniper berries. Nothing, with the exception of water to lower the proof, can be added to a London Dry Gin. Examples of these might be Beefeater, Bombay, or Tanqueray. And lastly, we have New Wave or New American Gin. This category has no legal basis or standards to adhere to, but more gins fall into this category than any other. These are usually made by smaller distilleries that have moved away from the traditional juniper flavor and are infusing their products with all manner of things, such as rose petals, cucumber, lavender, apples, and so forth. Examples of these might be Greylock, Death's Door, and Ula. There are those, however, who feel that many of the products in this last category are not really gin at all, as many of them have little to no juniper in them whatsoever. And yes, it's true that we have dumped a great many products into this last category. But if you start trying to separate them all, you will end up with 1,000,001 categories, some with only one brand of gin in them. And to tell the truth, wouldn't your time be better spent sipping a fine gin-based cocktail? So please, join us each week as the 5 o'clock hour explores the history, the rituals, the gadgets and gizmos, the techniques, the recipes, the food, the drink, and all of the other wonderful and interesting things that make up this truly unique institution that we here call the 5 o'clock hour. Or visit us anytime at the5o'clockhour.com. And please remember, enjoy the 5 o'clock hour responsibly. Until we meet again, cheers.